الصبط بعد المجتبى وعلى السجاد زهدا وتقى وعلى الباقر بالعلم رقى وعلى الصادق قولا ونهى.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, all praise and gratitude due to our Lord, the cherisher, the sustainer, the provider. And may His peace and blessings be upon all of His messengers and apostles, upon the family, upon the Prophet Muhammad and his family. And may the peace and the blessing of Allah be upon you and with you all, my dear brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are still discussing an important subject in Islam and in our social life and social circles, and that is the rules of engagements among the brothers and sisters. There are manners, adab, and courtesies that one should incorporate in his or her relationship with those who live around him. These rules of engagements are important to sustain and solidify the friendship, brotherhood and sisterhood. One of them is mentioned by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, if you have a friend that you like, then it's befitting that you tell him that you like him. Don't keep it away from him. Tell him, inform him. The Prophet ﷺ says, إذا أحب أحدكم صاحبه أو أخاه فليعلمه. If you love your brother or your friend, then tell him that you love him, inform him. It will bring the hearts closer to each other. You are giving him a positive message. Actually, you are reaffirming this message. Most likely he knows you like him, but he loves to hear it from you. He loves to get some sort of affirmation and confirmation about this. So tell him, do not hesitate. Do not keep it secret. Approach your friend and tell him, you know what? I like you. I love you. I respect you. I value you. فَلْيُعْلِمُهُ. Imam al-Baqir, the fifth Imam of the school of Ahl al-Bayt, says to a man who came to him and he said to him, I love my friend. He was telling the Imam that I have a friend that I love him. The Imam said to him, أَلَا فَعْلِمْهُ. أَلَا فَعْلِمْهُ. Then tell him you love him. Maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't know, maybe he's hesitant about this. Maybe he likes you to tell him. Maybe he likes to hear it from you. Maybe he likes this endorsement, this clear-cut evidence that comes from you, this important statement that comes from you, that you love him. Tell him. It will deepen this relationship. ألا فعلم فإنه أبقى للمودة. It is for a lasting love between you. وخير في الألفة, and it's good in keeping this company, this companionship. وخير في الألفة. It will keep the company strong when you go to someone and tell him, listen, you know what? You've been my friend. I haven't told you about this so far, but I love you. I like you. You are my favorite. It brings the hearts together. This is a very magical word, magical statement. It has a big impact on the life of the friends when they are told that they are being appreciated, being loved, being cherished by their own friends. فإنه أبقى للمودة. It's lasting for the love, and also خير في الألفة, and it is good. This is very good to keep the companionship and the friendship. Now, how do we know that an ex-person, he loves me? How do I know? Suppose he doesn't tell me. Is there any way that I can understand that from his behavior? How do I know? Sometimes you have many friends. You like some of them, but you don't know whether they like you or not. So how do you understand? How do you get the answer? Without asking them. Is there any sign that tells you, yes, Fulan, an ex-man, he respects you, he loves you? What is this sign? Imam al-Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam says, اعرف المودة لك في قلب أخيك بما له في قلبك. اعرف المودة. Recognize the love for you in the heart of your brother, and the brother here means the friend. It could be a brother, a sister, a friend, a companion, through what he has in your own heart. I know my place in his heart through knowing his place in my heart. If he has a good place in my heart, special place in my heart, he is one of my favorites, then this definitely means that also I am enjoying a good position, a good place in his heart too. He loves me too, because it reciprocates two ways. Psychologist, ethicist, ulama al-akhlaq, and sociologist, they say that oftentimes these feelings of love and compassion reciprocate. They are two ways, because these are communications between the hearts. Once your heart is in love with this person, it means that his heart is in love with you. Once you have deep feelings for this person, then it means that he also has deep feelings for you. Now there is a question, important question. Why sometimes between a male and female there is some chemistry, but from one way, not both ways? Meaning the female sometimes she loves this male, but he doesn't love her. Or sometimes the male, the boy, he loves this girl, but she doesn't love him. She doesn't have feeling for him. How come it doesn't work here? There is a difference between the real love and the romantic love. We are speaking about the real love. What some people experience, especially men and women, when they have some chemistry between them, this is not necessarily love. These are feelings. Some of them are sensations. Some of these romantic relationships are mere sensations, not real love, not genuine love. Genuine love is different. It's different than the romantic relationship. Romantic relationship fluctuates. First of all, it is very shallow. It's not deep. It fluctuates, and it could be very temporary. While love is a permanent feeling, does not fluctuate. Even if they fight today over something, that love does not fluctuate, remains the same, and it's permanent, and it is real. It's not fake. It's not sensation. This is the difference. So if there is a love of one way, then this is not real love. These are sensations. Love, when it works both ways. It works both ways. So when you love someone, not based on romantic type of love, then mostly it is spiritual love between the hearts, the souls. Not because you are attracted to this person or that person. The love that does not come from attraction, physical attraction, material attraction. It comes from bonding, real bonding between the souls. You see that person, a person of values and principles. Even if you don't see that person, even if you don't communicate with that person, you are in love with him. Even from a far distance, a long distance, you are in love with him. Because there is no commercial or material interest between you or relationship between you. This is the real love that lasts for a longer period of time. What we see today between some of the boys, teenagers, or even some adults, some of these feelings, they are childish feelings. One day they fall in love, they call it love, but it is not real love. Tomorrow they fight with each other and they hate each other. This is not real love. The real love has no hate. Has no hate. It's an endless journey. Endless journey. So the Imam says, اعرف المودة لك اعرف المودة لك في قلب أخيك بما له في قلبك. Do you want to know your position in the heart of your brother, the real love? Then look at the level of his love in your heart. If you love him 50%, he too loves you 50%. If you love him 100%, he too loves you 100%. Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam, has a beautiful hadith too. He says, سَلُوا الْقُلُوبَ عَنِ الْمَوَدَّاتِ. If you want to know about the love among the hearts, ask your heart. فَإِنَّهَا شَوَاهِدُ لَا تَقْبَلُ الرُّشَا. The heart are genuine and honest. They don't lie, they don't cheat, they don't mislead. Ask your heart. Ask your heart. The heart will tell you the truth. The real heart. As I said, sometimes a boy of 15 years old comes to me and tells me, I'm in love with this girl. This is not real love. This is an artificial one. This is not genuine one. These are feelings. These are sensations. They come and go daily, on daily basis. This is not real love. Real love comes when you live with someone for a period of time and you experience the qualities of that person. You experience the unique qualities of that person. You live with that person through ups and downs. Or sometimes you don't live with that person, but you don't love him because you are benefiting something material from him. Maybe you are benefiting from his piety, his faith, his knowledge, his wisdom, his nearness to God. He draws you closer to God, not to the dunya, not to himself, to God. Then that is a spiritual love. I remember one time there was an incident where maybe a boy of 17 years old, he fell in love with a woman who was, I think, over 40 years old. And there was a big dilemma and big crisis. And he insisted that he wants to marry her. And she, of course, she wanted to marry someone who's 17. And I was talking to this 17 years old boy, and I was telling him, this is not a real love. You cannot marry someone who's, some 23 years older than you. You can't do that. Maybe you have some feelings, but there is no compatibility. Maybe today you marry her and tomorrow, after 3 months, after 6 months, after 1 year, you're going to separate from each other. You need to find some common ground. Common ground. You've been enchanted by her, fascinated by her. Maybe she taught you something. It's right. But it does not mean that whenever there is some chemistry, and some feelings, then you have to marry that person. Because marriage requires a different level of commitment. Marriage, you are stuck with one person for the rest of your life. You can't change your mind. You have to go into the marriage with this intention that I'm not going to change my mind. Once I marry this person, I'm stuck with her. I can't come tomorrow and say, well, I made a mistake. This is not my choice. This is not right for me. You can't say this. So you have to be very careful. You have to find a solid platform, a solid common ground between you and your future spouse. You have to be very careful when it comes to marriage. سلوا القلوب عن المودات. Ask your heart. Your heart would tell you. فإنها شواهد لا تقبل الرشا. Shawahid, the heart, they have evidence, strong evidence, and it does not accept bribery. It is genuine. It tells you the truth. The heart is an honest being. It tells you the truth. Now, of course, some people, they come to others and they tell them we love you, but they don't love them. This is a problem here. We should never ever say to a person, we should never claim that we love that person if we really don't love that person, because you are sending the wrong message. You don't have to tell people that you love them. You don't have to. If you don't love them, don't tell them. Don't lie. Of course, be polite. Don't go and tell them I hate you. Be polite. But you don't have to go and tell them that you love them while you don't love them. We have to be very honest and truthful in conveying our messages to others. We should not mislead here. We should not mislead here. Some people, they hate people, but then they go to them and tell them, well, you know what? I love you. You are my sweetheart. This is hypocrisy. This is hypocrisy. Has it happened to you that some people, they come and they say we love you and they don't love you, and you know they don't love you? It happened. It happened many times. This is hypocrisy. This is not good. If we love people, we tell them, we declare it. If we don't, we shouldn't say anything. You don't have to go and tell them that you love them while you don't. This is hypocrisy. Then the hadith says, this is another rules of engagements within friendship and a brotherhood. If you have a brothers, if you have friends that are close to you, but suppose something happened, something bad happened, and you decided that this person is no longer for me. He doesn't fit my character. I don't want to be with this person anymore. The hadith says, if you decide to cut off your friendship, do not cut off this friendship completely and totally. Maybe you cut off 80%, but leave 20%. Leave some channel of communication. Leave some window to get back to each other. It's a beautiful what Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam says. It's a beautiful what Imam Ali says. He says, أحبب حبيبك هونا ما عسى أن يكون عدوك يوما ما وأبغض عدوك هونا ما عسى أن يكون حبيبك يوما ما. So beautiful what he says. He says, when it comes to your friend, try to leave some room. Don't be completely open to your friend. Leave some room of privacy with that friend. Don't tell him everything. Don't share with your friend everything, every single detail of your life in the family, outside the family. Leave some room, because maybe that friend is going to turn against you. And if he knows everything about you, he's going to damage you. And on the other hand, when you hate your enemy, leave some room for friendship one day. Maybe this enemy in the community, you consider him an enemy, maybe one day is going to turn into your friend. So don't hate him full-fledged. Leave some room for return. Here the hadith says, Imam Ali alayhi salam says, إن أردت قطيعة أخيك, if you decided to cut off with your friend, فاستبق له من نفسك بقية يرجع إليها, leave some room. Don't cut off the ties 100%. يرجع إليها إن بدا له ذلك يوما ما. Leave some room for return. How is that? Let me give you an example. Two friends who were close to each other, they travel together, they work together, they visit each other, they dine together, they play together, they go to Las Vegas together, they do everything together. And one day, one of them was upset because he or she claims that he was offended by his friend. So he does not want to see him anymore. He does not want to talk to him. He does not want to see his face, neither to hear his name. And then he says, I'm going to change my telephone number, my email address, my whatever, and even change my home address and move out of this city, out of this neighborhood, because I don't want to see his face, neither hear his voice. Is this right or wrong? The hadith says this is wrong. Don't cut off all the ties. Leave some room. Leave 20%, 30% for negotiation. Maybe one day you decide, or he decides. Because sometimes we fight over nothing, over ridiculous things, which could be solved through negotiation, through logic. People are emotional beings. They get angry easily, and they become happy easily. And the emotions, they play with us. The mood, sometimes people are moody. In the morning they have one mood, in the afternoon they have a different mood, in the evening they have a third mood. People are moody, and they are subject to their moods. The mood sways left and right. So you have to leave some room. Don't cut off all the ties. Leave some room that one day, if you decide that I want to go to this person, I feel bad for not talking to him, I feel that was a mistake. But if you cut all the ties, then you leave yourself with no channel of communication, with no chances of return. Don't do that. Leave some room to go back to each other. The best way when you get angry with someone, with a friend, is you don't have an immediate reaction. Don't make an immediate decision, because at the time of anger, at the time when you are hurt, your emotions are hurt, your feelings are hurt, you don't make the rational judgment. You don't make a rational judgment. Most of the time, we make a wrong judgment, emotional one, which is not good. In the long term, it's not good. Don't make any judgment. Try to stop the communication, stay away from that, and then after a period of time, go through that, assess the situation in your mind, and see why this happened, why we are, not talking to each other, whose fault it was. Of course, you're going to blame the other side, not yourself. This is the case. Take your time to assess the situation and what happened before you decide to cut off. Because the mood is changing. The person that you hate today, you could love tomorrow. And the person you love today, you could hate tomorrow. We are different. The qalb yataqallab is changing. The alteration of the heart. And this is found in women more than men. If you read psychologist theories, they tell you women, they change, they sway more than men emotionally. And this is one of the reasons that divorce in Islam is not in the control of women. Many women ask why the man has the right to divorce while women, they don't have the right. Even the man, he doesn't have the right, the absolute right. He cannot just go and tell your wife you are divorced for nothing. This is unacceptable. There are rules and regulations. Regulate marriage and divorce. So he cannot just go there and tell his wife, oh, Habibti, I love you, but you are divorced. طالق. Have you seen some crazy men? Their favorite word and term is طالق 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 3 times. That's it. They do it now. And some of them, they do it during the month of Ramadan because they are fasting, so-called fasting. They get angry and they divorce 3 times in one session. And they put an end to the family. This is unacceptable in Islam. This is unacceptable. This is nonsense. But also, on the other hand, Islam does not give this right to the wife to say to her husband, you are divorced. Because she is more emotional than the man, more emotional, more susceptible for emotions and the swinging of emotions and the changing of the emotions. So Islam says the institution of marriage is sacred. We cannot, play with it, tamper with it. We cannot tamper with the institution of family. We have to respect it. You get angry, okay, no problem. But don't decide to demolish this family. When you have children, when your children are seeking a good future, you are responsible. You cannot demolish the family because you cannot tolerate this person, or you had enough, or you are angry at this person because he did this or that. Islam says, cool down, stay away from each other for a while. Don't see each other. Stay away from each other. فَاهْجِرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ. Stay away. Take a break. You need to take a break. But leave some room to go back to each other. Don't cut off all the ties. Do not block the road. Don't say, that's it. There is no way for me to go back to that person. Don't say this. Leave some room. Because sometimes in the future, you're going to regret what you did. And rather than regretting what you did, where there is no way for you to go back, now take your time, cool down, stay away from each other, stay away from the tension, so you don't create further tension. Because at the time when we are crazy, when we are mad at each other and angry with each other, we start firing at each other. We don't stop that fire. One word from here, another word from there. One statement from here, another accusation from there, and then it escalates and the situation deteriorates. And we live in a constant state of tension. The same thing with the friends. When you have this situation with a friend and you decide to leave that friend, okay, leave him, but leave some room for return. Get a round trip ticket. Use one of them in staying away from him and keep the other one in your hand. Keep it open. The day you decide to go back, there is room to go back to each other. There is room. Politicians are good at one thing. They are bad in everything, but only when it comes with one aspect of their life they are good. Today they fight with each other. They call each other names. Tomorrow they sleep with each other. They are sweethearts. They leave room for each other. They don't cut off the ties. They say politics, is unknown. Today you fight with this group, with this party, but tomorrow they could be your allies, your friends. Or today they are your allies, tomorrow they're going to be your enemies. They leave some room to maneuver. In the friendship we have to leave a room to maneuver, to go back to each other. Then the other hadith says, the last hadith, من وضع حبه في غير موضعه فقد تعرض للقطيعة. Why sometimes we find two friends who were together But then all of a sudden they start hating each other. They break away from each other. Imam al-Sadiq says, because either both or one of them, they put their trust in the other, who was not trustworthy. Sometimes when you put your trust in someone who's non-trustworthy, the result is after a period of time. It could be short period or long period, or long period. This relationship is going to be severed. Is going to be cut, this relationship, after a period of time. Because there is no compatibility. You put your trust in someone who's not trustworthy. You shouldn't have trusted him. So you are sowing the seed of qati'ah, disconnection, and a conflict and a fight from the beginning. From the beginning. As I mentioned in the previous nights, when we decide to go for friends, we have to make sure that those friends are worthy of our friendship. You have something called trust. Don't spoil, do not destroy, do not sabotage this trust. Put it somewhere which is worthy. Don't put your trust in someone who's not worthy, who's unreliable, who's not an honest person, who is going to let you down and disappoint you. It is your fault. You put your trust in him. One day a man comes to the Imam and he tells him, Fulan, a person, Amin, he's Amin, he's honest, trustworthy. I put my money with him, I left my money with him, he took the money and he ran away. The Imam said to him, no. The Imam said to him, that person was not Amin, because the Amin does not betray. You thought he was Amin, you thought he was trustworthy, but he wasn't. If the man was a truly trustworthy and honest and God-fearing, he wouldn't have taken your money. He would have given the money back to you. But you put your trust in someone you thought he's trustworthy, but he wasn't. These are some of the rules of engagements about brotherhood and sisterhood and a friendship in Islam. And inshallah we will continue on this subject during the holy nights of Ramadan, and we will connect with you inshallah in the upcoming sessions. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept your deeds, your fasting and your commitment, your devotion during this beautiful month of Ramadan, and accept your dua, your prayers inshallah. Remember us in your dua, and remember the ummah, remember the Muslim community worldwide. We have a lot of sufferings within the Muslim ummah during this holy month. Pray that Allah brings salvation, relief, unity and love among the hearts of the Muslims inshallah. May Allah bless you all. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.